dreaming a bit too much. Ne? So, you know, but I believe, having seen what I have seen and having learned all that I have learned, that we are all here for a purpose. We're not here just to breathe. We're all here for a specific purpose. But you know what differentiates us? What differentiates us is that ability to make it real. Because to make it real takes guts. If you heard what Isaac said, it's about having that ability, that gut, to do that which seems impossible. And so I had the privilege of learning this from my own father. He was uneducated, but he decided he was going to get an education. And this was in the apartheid era. You know, and this is why I often say to young people that if you say that there are no opportunities today, what about the people that made opportunities possible in the apartheid era? How do you say they made it possible? You know, one of the people that I'm going to talk about here is an entrepreneur by the name of, let me not speak about him. But these are people who in those years made things possible which appeared impossible. And so why can we not take the opportunities and make them a possibility today? And that is what it's about. It's about making things that appear impossible and making them into a possibility. And if I can just tell you, with my father, he went from being just an admin person in an organization and, you know, working odd jobs to going and getting himself a bursary. And guys, this was in apartheid South Africa, back in those days. He got himself a bursary in the company he was working for, went and studied in London, went to the London School of Economics and did his bachelor's degree. And then he did his master's degree, and then lastly, you know, much later on, he did his doctorate. But he accomplished this. He came, when he was back in South Africa, he went and he negotiated with that, you know, government, that apartheid government, negotiated with them, bought an asset from them. You know, I'm telling you these things because that which appears impossible can be made possible. If you just keep your vision on it and you focus on it, you can make it happen. I don't care what age you are. I don't care whether you are black, white, whatever. I don't care if you can walk, aided or unaided. I don't care if you can see me or not see me. I don't care if you can hear me or not hear me. The fact that you are here in this earth is because you are here for a purpose. Now the difference is, do you have the courage that it takes to make it happen? Do you?
Sure.
Do you? Do you? Do you? Make it happen. So today is a day where we are celebrating this man, Nelson Mandela. A man who, to me, made that which appeared impossible. I mean, for those of you who were here in the apartheid South Africa, that which appeared impossible, possible, together with his comrades. And you know, I love this man. I mean, Isaac, you were talking about, you know, how you have all these pictures of him and all of that. I'm exactly like you. When you walk into my house, there's a big picture of him. You leave my house, you'll see that big picture of it, because I love the spirit of people who are able to make that which appears impossible, possible. As we are here, we might see each other as physical beings, but in all reality, we are spiritual beings. We are much more than that which appears to the eye. There's so much more to us. You know, when I was a young girl, I wanted to become a ballerina because that's all I could think. And it wasn't because I was so much into ballet, but it was an idea. It sounded interesting. And you know, sometimes you have young people who at a young age know exactly what they want to become. Well, I was one of those people who didn't know. I had no idea. So, but fortunately I had a father who knew exactly what I should do. That worked for me. It didn't work for my sister, who made it very clear to him that that wasn't going to work for him. So he said to me, Phuti, you are going to be in business. this is what you're going to do. You are going to do an undergraduate degree at this university, which I've already applied for. And my parents had weird things that they would do. So in those years, the 80s, they applied to us to go to one of the first multiracial, there were multiracial schools here in South Africa, which were run by the Catholic nuns. And so they applied for us to go to one of those schools. And you know, I remember years later, I was looking for something. My mother died when we were still young, and so I had to go through some of her papers. And when I looked at one of her salary slips, I couldn't understand. Because I knew what our school fees, my sister and I, our school fees were at school. And when I looked at what she was earning, I couldn't understand how they were able to afford, because my father would be studying and doing this, so I couldn't understand how they were able to afford to take us to that school when, you know, they were clearly having such a little income. But they believed in this dream so much. They wanted to create a different future for us. And it was about us believing that we could. Believing that we could achieve, and not buying into a psyche of you are this, you are that, you can't, you know, but just believing that you can. You are here and you can achieve because you're here for a purpose. And so I had the privilege of going through that. But, you know, so for me, my life has been about that. It's been about bringing that which appears impossible and making it possible. You know, and as I say this, when you look at something like that plant growing in the middle of concrete, that's what it's about. I mean, why would you expect something to grow out of that concrete place? But sometimes for you to break out into the person that you're supposed to be.
Sure.
Sometimes you have to break out through that concrete. You have to break out through those rooftops which appear impossible. You know, we have so many opportunities today. Guys, can I tell you? In this country, in spite of all the things that you read in the media, there are so many opportunities for people who have their mind on it. We have so many financial institutions that we can go to, who can support us. And I'm not even talking in the private sector, just looking at the public sector. You know, sometimes you have to be able to look, not see all the other stuff that we read about, and just be focused on your purpose. You know, and to go to an institution and tell yourself, just like you heard earlier, that you're going to raise this capital. He made it possible. Why can't you have a group of people in your hotel? If Isaac can make it possible, why can't you make it possible? So you need to think, you know, we all have different dreams. Some of us have dreams in aviation, some of us have dreams in medicine, some of us have dreams in arts, in various fields. Make it possible. Bring out this flower in the middle of concrete. Make it possible. You know, so when I was at Shanduka Group, one of the organizations that we started, Cyril Ramaphosa, one thing that he was very keen on was on making sure that he started the foundation at the same time that he started the business of Shanduka Group. And so this came much later, Shanduka Black Umbrellas. And, you know, what I loved with the Shanduka Black Umbrellas, this was an idea that came from Danae Nickel, who heads up the foundation even today. It's now been renamed into the Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation. But one of the entities within the foundation is mostly focused on education, and I'm still on the board of it. But one of the things that was started there was a focus on entrepreneurship. Now, we started this just in 2009, so it wasn't so long ago. But what we have done is that we have created, and the business is focused on incubating entrepreneurs. So they take entrepreneurs on a 3-year period, they incubate them, and help them to develop their ideas into businesses that can generate revenue, profitability, and employ sufficient numbers of people. And so we have been running with this, and in all the years since 2009 that we've been running this, the businesses that have been able to come out of Shanduka Black Umbrellas are today producing a turnover of just over 1.7 billion rand. These are businesses that didn't exist. They didn't exist. But it was people who had ideas, and they came and they focused. And you know, what we've been seeing with the entrepreneurs coming into the Shanduka Black Umbrellas, and there are many entrepreneurship programs around in the country. And that's why I say to you, there are so many opportunities in this country. And so you've got to make use of it, you know, whilst you are here, make use of the opportunities. But what we have seen is that, you know, it's not only people who are unemployed who are looking to become entrepreneurs. It's not only people who just have an idea, but it's people who are also leaving corporates, who are saying, you know, yes, I know I'm employed here, I have a great job, but I actually have this great idea and I actually believe in it. But the important thing is to remain committed, more than anything, because what often happens is that people have an idea, they think about this idea, but they don't, you know, the minute there's a problem, they don't get paid on this, or, you know, they leave it and they go back to the job, you know. But if you believe in something, you have to stick it out through the difficult times. Anyway, so they are now today producing a turnover of 1.7 billion. They are producing over 300 million in profitability, and they're employing over 10,500 people. And so it's, you know, it's continuing to grow. Even now, as we speak, there are more, you know, entities that are being formed in their various incubations. And we have worked together with corporates. So what we do is we go and we approach big corporates around the country. And one of them is Transnet. There are many others. And they provide us with funding to put up these incubation centers. Another one is Longman. There are many others. And we put up these incubation centers. And then what they do, those corporates, they, in addition, will provide support in terms of services that they require. They'll come to the incubators and see if they're looking for someone who provides a service in whatever service it is.